Warning, this content is for entertainment and educational purposes only. What's up, everybody?
What's up?
Hopefully this isn't too early for all the bros on Sunday morning.
Good morning.
I had to be selfish and do it an hour earlier so I could watch football today. Although the Commanders don't play until 4. They flex that game until prime time, I guess. I don't know. Just a reminder, folks, I put a link in the video description below, but Kurt Havens and I are doing our monthly live Q&A for the Anabolics e-course. I'm going to let people have free access to it this month. So all you have to do is go to the link in the video description. And if you want to join the Q&A tomorrow night, Monday night, I guess people aren't going to be watching this. Monday night at 8 p.m. So if you want to join, you're welcome to join. We'll answer all your questions. Man, it was kind of a drama week in the social media influencer world, wasn't it?
Seriously, so much drama.
A little bit. Yeah.
Where do we even start? I guess the Matt Jansen stuff, that was some crazy stuff, like the mass exodus of his clients.
I heard he's offering a discount now.
I haven't heard anything officially, but somebody said he was retiring. I don't know if that's true.
I mean, that's probably
not.
for the best, would be my... I mean, he might, like, well, I don't know, he might as well. Like, he's got Raw and Revive. Like, he doesn't, I don't know, and he's focusing on Iron Man training now, so it's like... If I was him, I would be done. I'd just be like, fuck it, I don't care.
What do you? I mean, he clearly can get guys in shape. I mean, we've seen it. We've seen him have some guys come in. It sounds like the guy maybe was just spread too thin. Took on too many coaching clients. I don't know. I'm trying to give him the benefit of the doubt. I know he put out an apology this week. I read it on Instagram. It was. Did you guys see the apology?
It didn't seem like much of an apology.
Yeah.
I read it, but it was kind of like, I'm doing more other stuff. Whatever. It's like, I don't know if it was much of one.
I thought it was kind of a half-ass apology, but I'll pull it up here. My dad used to always say that apologies don't come with terms and conditions.
Your dad has some of the best phrases out of all of Appalachia, I think.
And he used to
everything before the butt is bullshit. That's another one of your dad.
Yeah, that was another one of my dad. I remember I would say, "Dad, I'm sorry, but," and he's like,
what?
He's like, "Just stop." He's like, everything before the butt is bullshit. The butt is after the butt is what you really mean.
Everything before the butt is where I where I thrive.
I have a hard time with that.
I like how he has this cozy picture with Sean up here to, I guess, gain some empathy. So here's what he said. Over the past year, it has become clear to me that my passion for bodybuilding has shifted. However, my dedication and love for the guys I had the opportunity to help remained unwavering, making this year a mental challenge for me. I recognized the need for change, but didn't want my team to feel abandoned or think I was above them, so I continued to honor my commitments. I have increasingly embraced my roles as a dad and husband. I don't know. It sounds kind of.
See, it's like he's throwing this stuff in. It's like
that line.
Here's my
I've
excuses.
heard that line before. Listen. I fucked up. I shouldn't have dumped in that broad. I'm focusing on my family right now. Okay, can you just respect my family in this time?
Here come the excuses. He should have just stopped right there and said, "I'm sorry."
Yes.
This is where it gets off track. Spending quality time with my wife and my boys has become my top priority as they grow. I truly want to be present for them. Additionally, I discovered the passion for endurance sports, both for personal health and business opportunities, and I invested myself deeply in this area over the past year. Yeah, you should have left that paragraph out.
Like you don't need to say that.
I acknowledge that my focus may not have always been where it should have been
Oof,
with my
man.
team, and I sincerely apologize for any negative feelings that it caused. I like that. Apologize for the feelings that caused. That's
No.
not an apology.
No, he's apologizing that his focus may not always have been where it should have been with his team.
This is
like he's barely fucked up if you think about it.
He's apologizing for people being angry at him.
Yes,
Not for the actual action.
yes. That's I'm going to be controversial here, but that's some bullshit my ex-wife used to do. I apologize for making you feel bad, or for you feeling bad.
Yeah, sorry you took it that way.
I'm sorry you took it that way.
Sorry, you took it that way.
Well, that is not. On a personal note, here's where it kind of like. On a personal note, I feel that the way I'm being treated.
I am a victim.
We heard the term gaslighting a few times mentioned with him. On a personal note, I feel the way I'm being treated currently is unfair to me and the career I've had. In the past 2 competitions, Brett has delivered an incredible performance and arguably at his best. Didn't Brett fire him later this week?
Yeah, they're not working together.
Yeah, that's what I thought. And Sean placed second in the world at 42. This isn't just about me. No. It's about acknowledging that Sean is still one of the top bodybuilders in the world. The perception that we fell short is disappointing, especially when what he continues to achieve is so incredible. Above all, I wanted to take responsibility for any shortcomings over the past year and just say that I'm sorry to anyone that I might have hurt, as that was not my intention. He should have just said the first paragraph and the last paragraph, and everything in between should have just been left out.
Well, he said, I wanted to take responsibility, not I am taking responsibility.
Yeah,
That's a good point.
I wanted to take responsibility, but I'm going to.
Language matters, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy to use language to say what you really fucking mean. And then you can use it to obfuscate too. So, yeah.
I don't know. I mean, look, I like I said, I think the guy probably got himself overextended. He was distracted. I definitely heard I had quite a few people reach out to me this week and tell me that they hired him as a coach, got a program, and didn't really hear much from him afterwards.
Oh man.
Yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I don't like to beat the guy up too fucking much, but we're all human. We all have shit going on. I believe me, coaching is hard. I got sick this week, and I took a day and a half off because I just felt so bad. You still got people competing. You still got. I mean, it's like I was at dinner last night with my wife, texting people that were getting ready for the shows today. So, yeah. I mean, it never stops. So I think that's something that people don't understand with the coaching. It's a 7-day-a-week job. There are no days off. I want to take responsibility. Josh says, I want to take responsibility for my actions, but I'll continue to gaslight. Well, PR-based apology. If PR wrote that, PR fucking sucks. He needs to hire a new PR person.
PR fail.
I think the thing that's really dumb is how everybody keeps bringing up that he was using the excuse when people were off that their gear was fake.
Yeah.
I've heard that from so many people where they were like, oh yeah, he told me my gear was fake too.
Yeah, I heard that not just from Olympians. I had 2 of my clients that had failure to get results, and he told them the same thing, man. Yeah. Yep, not even just nice shirt, Chase. Where can we get one, Chase?
Yeah.
My spread shop is what it's called. If you Google Chase Irons spread shop, you'll find it.
Everybody keeps asking me for t-shirts. I've got
a spread shop that's different from an OnlyFans.
There's Kurt.
What's up?
Hey, Kurt.
And then the next piece of drama this week was the Mike Van Wyck stuff. That was that I just
man,
felt
that went mainstream big time because Jeff Nippard's fucking huge, you know. He's got widespread appeal because he's all natural.
I mean, that one was hilarious. That whole thing was hilarious. I thought, I don't know, that was sort of comical. I don't know if I assume we don't need to rehash what happened, but it was. Kurt Marty says Kurt has been killing it with the podcast. Yes, you have, Kurt.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm having a hard time seeing how many people are like. I understand, like, you can still be Mike's friend, but I don't understand, like, supporting what he did. Like, I don't know how people are like, yeah, that was okay. Yeah, that was good.
Well,
good work. Yeah. Good work. Like, I don't understand. I can't. And there's a lot of people that feel that it was fine. Like, I don't know. It doesn't.
I think there is such a thing as being loyal to a fault.
Like, I mean, yeah. I mean, like I said, you can be loyal to your friend and be like, you're still my friend, but you fucked up. They conflate
that with you know, backing a friend no matter what. They feel like that's loyalty, full stop. It's like, no, that's loyalty to a fault. When they fucked up, like, you got to be like, yo, I'm your friend, but you fucked up.
Did you see the?
It's like, you're going to go to jail. Cool.
Did you see Johnny Bravo had the full security cam video? Jeff Nippard didn't put the whole.
I saw
the whole thing up.
That seems a little. I mean, he definitely saw Mike and said something, and Mike like looked over at him. He walked over to him,
and then he approached Mike after that, and then it said something like Jeff came back after him, and then Mike pushed him. You know, granted, dude should have kept control of his emotions, man. You know. Maybe the Tren got the best of him. I don't know.
I mean, who amongst us has not been in a position where we're being goaded, and it would feel so good to just grab that little fucker by the neck, but we don't do that. We don't do that because we live in a fucking society. Like, I'm sorry, man. Like,
speak for yourself. I've lost my shit a few times. It's been a long time, but
what did you get caught on camera? Did you get caught in 4K? Yeah, exactly. Sorry, you're on camera right now.
Scott made a good point. The same people who think what Mike did was fine are the people who think hitting their dogs to train them is fine.
My rule is if you touch me, I'm going to touch you. That's
the other thing is a lot of people are also like,
how far does that rule apply?
Like, why didn't Jeff do something back? Like, Jeff's a pussy. Like, why didn't he do something? And it was just kind of like, well,
what?
Why? I mean, yeah. So that's why they're against. That's why they're on Mike's side, because Jeff didn't defend himself.
Oh my!
It's like,
I mean, Mike. What did they say in Jiu-Jitsu, Colin?
We say a lot of things, but
size doesn't matter.
Size doesn't matter until it does. Sure, yeah.
Yeah, Jeff's 100. Jeff's 150 pounds.
Yeah, that's why we have weight classes.
Mike's 6'5" and 300.
In fighting and every.
There's nothing he's going to do.
I think Jeff's a little thicker than 150, but still, it's still like 100-pound difference. Like,
yeah, I mean, crazy. You know, nobody is a trained fighter there. You know, like, so that, you know, all things being equal, that weight and strength advantage, things are going to break one way more often than not if things get physical. That's all I'm saying. That's been my experience.
I got the video. I'll show it. What happened? Like
Josh M says. What Josh said. I mean, it's like, yeah, but the fact that Jeff is, you know, a child is not the problem here. It's like the fact that he didn't fight back is not the issue. Like, Mike shouldn't have.
That's
done anything.
Here's the security cam.
Yeah,
you can see Jeff's doing his thing, and then Mike walks by, and clearly says something to him. I think he said what's up.
He said it a little bit.
Sounds like he said something really cool and chill.
Look,
and then like maybe he reiterated the really cool and chill thing that he said.
Yeah, let's see that again.
It didn't look like he said sup.
I'll be fun the later part, but like you can see.
Hey friend, Jeff, good to see you, buddy.
me find the part here where Jeff. This wasn't a smart decision. So he's just doing his thing. His guys filming him. Mike's kind of off doing his own thing, and then this is where it got escalated and tempers flared. Look.
Yeah, he's like, come on.
He said, "Follow me." Yeah,
He said,
like follow me.
And watch this.
That's pretty fucking stupid.
Hey,
Yeah,
Poking the bear.
yeah, not smart. Yeah, and then
Or pretty smart, depending on your perspective.
well, yeah, I mean, he set the guy up. And here's where it comes. Mike tells Jeff to turn the camera off.
Oh, geez.
Yeah, Jeff didn't put this part out.
Yeah.
Here it comes.
Oh, man.
Well, I mean, it also sucks that bench is like right behind him. Like he trips over that.
Yeah.
That could have been real bad. If
It could have been real
like,
bad.
he tripped.
He could have busted his head on that rack,
I held
man.
myself.
Yeah, it could have been a lot.
Break fall, right, Colin? Break fall.
I don't know. I mean, he felt pretty good, all things considered.
He's backing away now.
I was laughing just at the sheer ease with which Mike moved Jeff with the hand. Like that's why Jeff didn't fight back. I mean,
Well, Mike was a professional bodyguard, right? Wasn't he Drake's bodyguard?
yeah, I think he was a professional bodyguard.
I'm pretty sure he was Drake's bodyguard for years. Hey, look at him; he's all up in his ear.
I wonder who walked up there.
Oh my gosh. Oh my goodness. Just boys.
Yeah.
I just see boys on the playground when I see behavior like this.
Then he gives the camera boy.
Oh man, it's just
That kid didn't even do anything. That poor kid, he's probably shitting his pants right now.
I just work here.
Look, he's like,
I mean, that was nothing.
No.
Still, it's just like,
I mean, from you look at everything, yeah, like he definitely like was encouraging. I'm saying Jeff was definitely encouraging that sort of outburst. It doesn't excuse the outburst, but like, yeah, I mean, he was definitely probably hoping for some shit to happen. That's good content, right?
Yeah. Well, it wasn't.
Everybody's talking about it.
It wasn't as innocent as Jeff made it out to be, but
No.
I mean, if something, because apparently they're taking some sort of legal action, but I think if they're going to be able to get anything out of it, actually, like on Mike, they're going to have to show exactly what Jeff filmed.
Right.
What did you say right here? You have it on film.
with audio.
Let's see it. Right, with the audio.
he clearly approached him.
Yeah. Well, yeah. There's all that, but it's just like I wonder what exactly was said, and they've got it on camera. So, and he purposefully did not show it.
Oh no, he did not show it.
Yeah.
The whole thing's hilarious to me. It's funny because I'm a Gen Xer, Kurt and Ryan. I think you guys are too, man. It's like we grew up in a different time, man. You didn't run your mouth.
No.
You did not run your mouth, man.
Cell phones.
There were no cell phones and security cameras in the late 80s, early 90s, man.
Pre-cell phones. Yeah, you went to complain to somebody, like, this guy's just beat me up. They say, who? What? I didn't say anything. That sucks for you, bud.
It was a different time. I can tell you.
A different element of respect too, because that was always possible back in the day. Something like that happening, right? And so
right.
there was respect.
Well, that was it. Yeah, I mean, that's a huge thing. Is like Jeff probably did not expect that to happen because he's like, "You're on camera. You're not going to do nothing to me." Yeah, right. And I mean, he did, but still, it's like it doesn't make it okay what Mike did. But at the same time, it's like
I remember my first gym I worked out at, and this may come as a shock to you. It was like a hardcore fucking redneck powerlifting gym. It was called the Jungle. And I remember I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I went in the first, when I first started working out there, and I didn't rack my weights. And one of the big ass powerlifters came up and just slapped me. Yeah. Slapped me. Yeah. Like I was a child, and told me to rack my fucking weights and be respectful. And I was like, what?
You know what? You racked your weights from then on, right?
I have racked every weight I've had ever since, man.
But it's weird. I understand both sides. Like sometimes you think somebody needs a good a good smack in the face, but you also can't always go around acting like that in society. It's just really strange.
No,
They-
you
they
have
only
to be careful.
tool you have in your toolbox is a hammer. Everything looks like a nail. You know,
Yeah,
it's like, yeah,
If you're,
it'll get the job done. But, you know,
I mean,
maybe
how many of
there's a
these-
better way, a more elegant solution, perhaps, than just beating it into submission.
how many of these college kids in the gyms would I like to kind of give a smack so that they, you know, they act better when they're in there? But you know, you can obviously can't.
I'll give them an aggressive talking to. That usually works.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah,
Like
you
that
can do
kid.
that. You can like, I mean, that's what Mike should have done. Like, he's big and scary enough. Like him just getting in Jeff's face and like
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
chewing him out and push
Right.
like
Yeah,
chest
like
to
just
chest,
give-
pushing
yeah.
him back. Like
Just
that
give
would
it-
be that would be normal. You know.
Yes.
Yeah.
But to
tell,
like,
tell him in his ear what will happen when the cameras are not around in no uncertain terms, you know?
I don't
He's a
know.
little smarter than that, man.
I'm not defending Mike, but I kind of liked the uncivilized times where there was a constant threat of getting your ass kicked.
There's a quote I love from Robert E. Howard, who wrote he wrote Conan O'Brien, Jesus, Conan the Barbarian. He says civilized men are more discourteous than savages because they know they can be impolite with having their skull split as a general thing. And sometimes I do wish we were
well, that's I mean, so that's just kind of it.
living in a
Like, I
world
think-
where we could solve things like that. But I know that's wishful thinking.
I mean, I think like people. That's why like guys our age, you know, like I'd say 35 and up, would be less likely to do shit. Like because I mean to say certain things to people because they don't want to get in a fight because like
100%.
this could happen. Whereas like people that are younger, they're like, he can't touch me.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you'll find out. And furthermore, like too, like when we trained jujitsu, like something that was eye opening to me was just, and we've said it before, was just like you don't know, just like walking through life, who is and is not dangerous. You don't know.
No.
You don't know. You know, like
I got my ass kicked plenty of times by guys that were half my fucking size.
100%. So, and that to me was a great lesson, just in respect and humility.
Yeah.
You know, like
That and how many people severely underestimate their ability to fight.
that too.
You get fresh meat in class, man. The new guys show up and think they're tough. Like that time they put me on that Division I wrestler.
Yeah. He didn't come back.
No, that kid never came back, man. He's like, no disrespect, but you're old. And I'm like,
You shouldn't be able. You shouldn't.
I'm
be
like,
able
well,
to
you
kick
just
my
got your
like
ass
this.
kicked by an old guy.
Oh shit! Or when the guys come in like their karate gi.
Yeah.
Oh no. Oh no.
Oh man, yeah. I mean, it was definitely different. I just, you know, I don't know. I rarely. I'm pretty chill. It takes a lot to get me going, but sometimes on contest prep, I'll lose my shit, like I did on that kid that was taking a little too long texting on his phone on the lat pull machine. Yeah, I told him that his set was over. I went up and asked how many, for rehash that story, but I asked this kid was just sitting on the prime pull machine and just was texting on his phone. I went up and asked him how many sets he has left, and he's like 3, and I'm like, motherfucker.
Yeah, no, like
And then
working, or
and then like
no.
you'd think you would have a little bit of urgency after that, but the dude went right back to texting on his phone. And I was like, wrong answer, motherfucker. Wrong answer. I'm like, you're done.
I think what people should do when you get asked about like how many sets you got left, instead of saying exactly how many sets you got left, maybe be like 10 minutes. I got 10 more minutes.
Sure.
You know, regardless of how many sets. Like I'll get whatever I need to get done in like 10 minutes. You know, and that way they kind of have a better idea, because it's like I got 2 sets left, and they take like 5-minute breaks between each one. You know,
Right. If that boy started on his next set and yeah, exactly. He just went right back on his phone. That's not cool.
well, yeah, that's terrible. Like,
No, when I went back to ask him what was going on, he was like, I'm taking 2 minutes between my sets. I got a timer going. I'm like, dude, you got 1 plate on this machine. You don't need fucking 2 minutes between your sets. And it's been way more than 2 minutes.
yeah.
It's been
Yeah,
way more than 2 minutes.
On a
you gotta get
stack
your own
machine, feel like the answer should always be, would you like to work in? Like
Yeah,
you can
yeah,
say,
that's
I've
what I
said
like.
if you want to work in.
Should be
Colin, do
basic
I?
etiquette.
For sure.
Don't I always invite people to work in when they are,
Yeah.
you know, nearby looking
You
at
do.
machines?
They rarely accept, but you do.
Yeah.
No, nobody ever wants to work in with Paul and his 6 plates. I'll
Well,
wait.
on a plate
I'll wait.
machine, it's different, but like on a stack machine, there's no excuse not to let somebody work in.
But-
I mean,
but
like
we
you can't
still
move that
offer is the
pin.
point. Like it's not our fucking gym. It's not our equipment. We all pay the same fee.
Yeah.
You know, it's all of ours. It's fucking shares. You're supposed to learn this in kindergarten.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I don't know, man. We live in a different time now. I sound like the grumpy old man, but like I hear like my kids talk about the stuff that school, like some of the rules and stuff. I'm like, what?
Yeah.
Like my son was talking about, like if they get in a fight, they're not allowed to defend themselves. I'm like, what? Really?
You just have to stand there and like take hits.
Yeah, it's the same punishment for the aggressor and for the other person if you defend yourself. Like, really?
Well, then if you don't defend yourself, your punishment is to get beaten.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
So you might as well defend yourself.
You're getting
so you're-
punished regardless. Might as
so
well
you're tr-
fucking defend yourself. Win the fight.
You're training people to be betas and just take an ass beating.
Yeah.
Ridiculous.
I'm like, that's like, look, I'm not saying like you should. I don't know. The whole thing's weird to me. Like I don't condone violence, people. I'm not saying that only in certain situations. But
when you guys were in school, did your principal give out SWATs?
SWAT.
When
No.
I was young, yeah. Like
Oh,
you would actually,
yeah.
there was a paddle when I was.
Oh,
young.
yeah. Oh,
There was actually
yeah.
a paddle.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went to
was good.
fucking Catholic school. Child abuse was part of the curriculum.
Yeah, no, we moved from Kansas to Oklahoma when I was like in 8th grade, and like that wasn't a thing in Kansas. When we went to Oklahoma, it was like, oh, you get SWATs like with a paddle if you screw up. I was like, oh shit, this is.
I still have nightmares about
Interesting.
Sister Carol Marie beating me with a ruler. I remember that this nun, this penguin I had in the
makes me
second
wonder if they
grade.
still do that. Anyways, sorry.
Second grade, man, you wouldn't be paying. Of course, I have attention deficit disorder, and not paying attention is my middle name. But she would roll up behind you she had this metal ruler, and she would pull that fucker back and snap it on the back of your neck when you weren't paying attention. That definitely, it was different times, man.
Yeah, I'm curious if my old school still does that. Like I don't even know. If
No, I don't think you can
Probably
do
not.
that.
Teachers
do
can't do
corporate.
anything anymore, and
No, you can't do that.
It yields an unruly classroom where it's even hard for kids to learn. It's like
Well,
gone
the
the
teachers
opposite
didn't do the
direction.
SWATs. The principal did the SWATs. So maybe the principal has special permission.
Yeah, I mean, when I remember I switched to public school, my parents put me in public school after, I think it was 3rd grade. But I remember the principal at the school that I went to, he had a paddle hanging up in his office. I don't know that he ever used it, but it was there as a threat. I remember that guy was scary, man. He was an angry bald man. That guy scared
Look at
the
us
crap
now.
out of me.
Angry bald man.
Chase, man, I've gotten so many messages about Retatrutide since you've I mean
love that
every
shit.
one of my clients is asking me about it. I
I
need
need to hop on Retatrutide.
Yeah.
I was with my my wife last night. We were handing out candy. We volunteered to hand out candy on like a Halloween trail for our community because I'm a pillar of the community. And we got assigned Pikachu and Ash Ketchum from Pokemon. And I got Pikachu. That's who they wanted me to play. And last night, it went well. The children are nice for the most part, until a young master chief called me Chunkachu
Oh, no.
towards the end of the evening. That was hurtful.
Yeah.
That's hurtful. So yeah, I think it's time for me to hop on the Retatrutide. Is that what it's called? Retatrutide.
Retatrutide.
Yeah.
I want to address
yeah.
I want to address this one real quick. SM says you guys are right. Society would be much better if the strong people can pick on the weak people with no consequences. That's not what I'm saying, man. Honestly, I am a pacifist for the most part, but I'm just like, I'm not saying that like I don't want people to use their strength to. And what do they teach you in jiu-jitsu, that you have an obligation to defend the weak, and protect them from basically the bullies. I mean, that's sort of like the tenet of it. But you know, sometimes all I'm saying is if you run your mouth, there used to be consequences to shit. Like I think like I see so much of it on social media. All of us that are on social media, we get these assholes in our DMs all the time, man. They just come after you. And that there's some things that get said in over the internet that would never stand in public. That's all I'm saying. It was a different world I grew up in. I'm not condoning violence. I think that's only a last resort if you need to defend yourself. I don't go randomly around kicking people's asses. I'm not that kind of person. I like to think I'm a nice guy.
You are.
I try to be calm and patient, but I do have my limits. So
I think it has to do too with we don't want a society where everybody runs around disrespecting each other either. And sometimes you have to instill that respect. So I mean, yeah, there's a line. I mean, I think it's an overkill to say, yeah, we should have a society where the strong run around and pick on the weak. That's not what it's about. It's more about instilling a system of respect and thinking about the next man, right?
Yeah, and like I think the other thing is, if Jeff would have done something more, like if the video he would have made on Mike's video was like going after Mike like hard, because he didn't at all.
Yeah.
He just
yeah,
kind of
Mike
like,
overreacted clearly.
right. He just like Mike or Jeff's video was just like, I mean, this is why I do what I do, and here's my results, blah blah blah. And
yeah, I thought it was respectful.
Yeah, there's nothing to it. So it's like, you know, I mean, that's all is like, if it would have been a little bit more words and stuff from Jeff, maybe there would be more of an argument that he deserved his ass beat. But you know, yeah. and I'd probably be okay with that. It's like, but yeah, there wasn't.
No, it was a severe overreaction. You know, and granted, Jeff was stupid to approach him. That was probably not the smart thing to do.
That's what I'm saying. Is like, there is a line where it's like if the weak person is going to run his mouth like an idiot, you know, where's the line that you're allowed to beat their ass or do something about it physically at a certain point? Like, does it come to the point where the smaller person is like pushing against the other, like walking towards him and like acting violent with his voice?
And very state by state.
Yeah.
I like to know ahead of time.
So yeah.
In that specific situation, like Mike did overreact, but like talking about like other situations, like just like Paul, like I suffered consequences for being disrespectful, and consequently I'm a better person today for having suffered those consequences. So it is about instilling a certain amount of respect for other people so that you can be a better person later on. And you know, it's a fine line between.
There's different ways to teach the lesson, though. You know, it doesn't have to be getting slapped by the power lifter.
Yeah, right. I mean,
you know, there's the message can be conveyed without violence. Is all I'm saying. But I feel you. And sometimes violence does seem like it is the best option.
This coming from the guy who comes raging at the gym every time somebody,
Listen, man,
somebody
I'm turning over
commits a traffic offense.
I've been meditating and shit. You're looking at a kinder, gentler Colin.
People think I'm the angry one. This motherfucker comes to the gym every day and tells me about some asshole that he wants to murder from driving in traffic. That's why.
That's why. Look, THC keeps me out of federal prison. All right. That's why. No, I'm jolly. All right, I'm not.
It's funny. I'm the one that gets blamed for looking at girls. I'm the one that everybody thinks is angry. I know. I'm the chill one.
You're the nicest person, and I look nice until I open my mouth.
You get really loud too. Like I'm like, Colin.
I know. My wife.
Bring it down a little bit, man.
We'll be going for a walk in the outside world on a trail. In the outside, where presumably one is free to use their outside voice. and she will be like, "Yo, Colin, can you bring it down a little bit? Like it's loud for outside. I need you to use your inside voice outside."
Yeah, I'll hear Colin will tell me about somebody who cut him off in traffic on the way over, and it's really like the volume is at an 11, and I see everybody in the gym looking over at us. And I'm like, Colin,
I'm embarrassing. I embarrass myself.
Oh man,
I almost got into it. Well, I did kind of get into it with a guy who was illegally dumping his furniture at my office dumpster like the week before my last
nice.
show. Yeah. So he was hauling this mattress over after he'd already like left a couch and some other things. And I said, "What you're doing is illegal. Like you need to stop and you need to take all this stuff back." And he said, "Well, I'm moving. I have no other option. I'm sorry. I can't do anything else." I'm like, "Yes, you can." I'm like, "I'm going to call 911 right now." I'm like, "This is illegal." So he kind of kept running his mouth, and he finally says to me, I said, this is not my problem. I said, "This is a you problem. Like what you do with your shit is not my problem." And he said, "It sounds like you're making it your problem." I looked at him and I said, "Oh, do you want me to make this my problem?" He started hauling that mattress the other direction. Like,
I would not want to engage with an enemy.
oh man, when he said that, I was like,
I see
no.
gleams in the eyes. Like,
I'm sitting there in my scrubs, like, I'm like, again, I feel like I look very nice and unimposing, but I was like, no, like that's a step too far. Like you can tell me about your bad day of moving and anything else, and I can ask you nicely to move your shit away from my dumpster.
Yeah,
To a point.
You gotta be a lot more stealth when you're trying to do that stuff.
I'm like,
Jason speaking with experience.
Yeah, it sounds like it could have been me.
like broad
Man.
daylight.
Oh man, yeah.
Oh,
So
no.
I was in that position like 10 years ago or something, where I was just like, I have nowhere to do anything with this stuff. I couldn't afford to do anything, and literally it was just throwing my mattress off the fucking stairs. It's like, I don't need it. I don't want it. I can't do anything with it. I can't move it. Just out into the alley.
spray paint "I'm sorry" on it and just leave it.
I mean, yeah. Luckily, nobody was around. I wouldn't have done it if people were around, though. So
Yeah.
shame on him.
Well, yeah, I like, sounds like you're trying to, like, sounds like you're making it your problem. I'm like, oh, it is my problem now, motherfucker. Like it is my problem now. Like, I will make sure that you do not leave your stuff here.
Yeah.
Remind me not to anger you, Amy.
Yeah. Oh, real nice until there is that. I have that point.
Any dudes that are taller than Amy in heels, I'm telling you that right now.
I'm tall, and I think you had me beat.
Yeah, it's something.
It's a lot of angry redhead coming at you.
All right, we want to get some questions. Man, I didn't think we would take. Somebody was commenting about this was supposed to be not a big discussion.
We weren't going to get into this.
I'm sounding like the old man that got beaten in elementary school, and people need to be tougher.
I think
All I was trying to say is,
some people need to be tougher, and some people need to chill the fuck out a bit.
Yeah, we do. Yeah, it's both. Like I don't know. Like if somebody pushed me, like if we got in a talking match and pushed me and knocked me over, if I didn't suffer any damage, I probably wouldn't press charges. That's just me.
Yeah, same.
I would just let it
Depends on
go.
what kind of car they were driving, but same.
If they were in a Mini Cooper,
yeah, a Mini Cooper, I would do it on principle, Amy.
then press the
Oh, if they were in a Mini Cooper, I'd fight back. I've seen the people who drive those things. Not afraid.
Amy just like appears out of nowhere.
The only time in the last decade there was one time like I had physical rage where I flipped the guy's grocery cart over. But
Oh my gosh, that's my favorite story ever.
I gotta hear this one. I haven't heard this.
Oh, it's the best.
God, dude, this was like peak going through divorce when I was. This was when Todd had me on Tren and was telling me that it was the anabolic ayahuasca and it was helping me seeing the truth in my relationship. I was at the grocery store angry shopping because my ex-wife pissed me off, and I was like trying to find the sugar-free almond milk. I remember it explicitly, and there was an old guy behind me, and like he tapped. I had my headphones on because I was just trying to zone out. I'm pretty sure I had some death metal on, and he like bumped me with the shopping cart, and I was like, I thought it was an accident, so I didn't think anything of it. And then he bumped me again, and then I looked back, and I was like, he was behind me, and he's like, "Can you hurry up, please?" And I'm like, "Motherfucker."
That would be tough.
And I turned back around. I said, "I'll be out of your way in just 1 second. I'm looking for the type of milk I'm looking for. Just hang on." And I turned back around, and he did it again. And I just had this fit of rage come over me, and I turned around, and I just flipped his entire shopping cart over right in the middle of the grocery store. I didn't touch him.
Yeah, that'd be the move. Yeah, I mean that's the move. Take it off of its wheels, so he can't push it anymore. Just dump it. Dump it out.
I just flipped the entire thing.
There you go. Have a good day.
Did he have eggs or anything in there?
Shit went flying everywhere, and I said, "Back off, motherfucker."
Enjoy the
And
things.
See,
he didn't say anything after that. That was the end of the conversation.
Paul just provided clarification in that situation, as far as I'm concerned. That gentleman was laboring under the misapprehension that he had a problem, but he didn't. He didn't have a problem. Then Paul said, "You think you have a problem? Here's a problem. You have a problem to solve."
I mean, that was 7 years ago.
That's a great way to look at it, Colin.
That was a rough year.
That was a rough year, but you made it through, bud.
Yeah, Colin, ACL tear. Colin and I were going through divorce together. That's how we got into the gym. It was group therapy.
What did you say that Tren was the ayahuasca of relationships?
Yeah. Dr. Todd was helping me then with my diet, and I was just on TRT at that point, and he suggested that I go on Tren, and I'm like, okay, so Tren and test, and I remember I was like I just had enough with my ex-wife. I was like, I just woke up one morning and just had this moment of clarity. I'm like, I'm done with this. I'm done. And I told Todd, I'm like, I think the Tren is making me angry at my wife. And he's like, no, he goes, it's the anabolic ayahuasca. It's making you see things clearly. Now, should one ever take relationship advice from Dr. Todd? Probably not.
Definitely not.
Should one take Tren to see the truth of their relationship clearly?
But that was
results may vary. Results may vary.
That may so he deliberately suggested that I use Tren so I would have more clarity on my relationship.
That is a great story.
Yeah, that was Paul making the 90-year-old man pick up his groceries.
He was like,
were there eggs in there? That would have been fantastic.
No eggs, thankfully. Everything was he was able to put back in his cart. But once again, lessons were learned that day. I guarantee you, guy never bumped anybody with a shopping cart again.
right.
What is the motto of Gracie Jiu-Jitsu?
You went over SM with that story, Paul. He said it's cool because you didn't touch him. He said, that's okay.
Yeah, I don't want
That's what you do. You don't touch them. You touch the
with a happy ending.
Yeah.
You should have grabbed the camera. You should have threw the cammer across the gym. And you're like, you know, I said stop filming me. I made you stop filming me.
Who was the guy, Paul, back? You said that somebody like made somebody go fish with their phone at the gym. You remember that story? Somebody was texting and the guy like grabbed the phone, was like, go fish.
Yeah, I forget who that was. It was some social media influencer that owned a gym, and he told the guy, the guy that there was no phone filming in the gym or whatever. Or the guy was the guy was on an. I remember I forget who it was, man.
Yeah, I can't remember who it was.
It was back a while ago, but what it was, he was doing a set, and it was kind of the same situation I was in, and the guy took his phone and just chucked it across the gym. Now that's it's a little extreme, but SM, I want you to know that I am not a bully. I don't advocate bullying.
Yeah.
And that's not what I'm saying. But all I'm saying is there are some people that are assholes, and there's no consequence for being an asshole.
Yeah.
Being a jerk is also a bully.
So I guess what I'm learning is like, as I get older, it's like obviously people who are acting out, like people who will disproportionately respond to situations with violence. As I age, I'm like, okay, these people are like fucking, they're acting out like from like deep hurt, you know. So like from that perspective, it's like harder for me to want to beat their ass. That being said, like, miss me with that shit when I'm sitting in traffic. Like, I'm not, I no longer believe in any of that. Like when you cut me off in traffic, I want to destroy you. But you know, I mean, realistically, that's all it is, you know. And so it's hard
another
to want to beat people up when you know it's like everybody's just like fucked up. That's all.
Another line I loved from Gracie Jiu-Jitsu when we went is the first lesson is always free.
Yeah, put your hands on me. First lesson is always free. What I do like Jiu-Jitsu and Judo is like when you do have like the ability to like control somebody, especially when somebody doesn't know how to grapple, like you can control them, prevent them from hurting you, and then
without hitting them
or hurting them, and you can just control them. And I feel like that's a good option, you know. Anyway.
Yeah, I mean, that's always. I remember. Oh God, what was his name? The one black belt that we had that talked about that guy that road raged on him and cut him off in traffic and got out and wanted to fight. And
Dexter.
Dexter.
Yeah,
I remember Dexter saying the guy was like, he just let the guy swing at him, and the guy swung at him for like.
Meanwhile, he's like 6'2", 6'4", like big 200+ pound dude.
I mean, like legit.
He looked like a football player. He looked like a football player. Like,
not the guy you'd want to mess with, but no. I remember him. I remember him saying that he just let the guy was so out of shape. He said he just let him swing at him for like a minute, and he ducked the punches
and like covered up, and then the guy gassed himself out in 30 seconds. You know,
guy had his hand on his knees, and he's like, "Are you done?"
That's so funny. I'm sure that guy saw that going differently in his head.
Yeah.
He didn't see it going, him swinging wildly, missing 20 times, then completely gassing out on the side of the highway.
Well, I mean, just think about the average person. Like they're not in shape.
No.
To begin with. Most people don't know how to fight at all. Like zero. Like I've had zero.
They'll just expend all of their energy immediately, just blow their load, and then they're gassed. And they've probably done no damage, or they've hurt themselves in the process, honestly.
Well, I mean, how many grown men are just not even in shape?
In this country, not many.
All right. Let's grab some questions. Enough about the violence.
That fight ended in heart failure.
Yes, it did. That was one of the greatest stories ever, though.
Yeah. I mean, that's like the ultimate alpha move as far as I'm concerned. Let somebody punch you, just rope a dope them. We got Taser the Snake.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Question for Chase. Can you give a good stack and some general doses for the stuff available on modern aminos?
Yeah. Modern aminos, code Chase, 10% off. That's most important. But yeah, I mean, like probably my favorite pre-workout injectable amino grouping would be 1 ml of the Zeus Juice, 1 ml of the Builder, and 1 ml of Max Drive. And you would do that bilaterally IM 1.5 mils in the muscles you're training is how I do it anyway. So like if I was doing back, I'd do 1.5 mils in each lat, or if I was doing a push day, I'd do 1.5 mils in each delt. That's going to get you a shitload of like arginine and citrulline and amino acids and carnitine and choline. Yeah, I really like that for the pumps. If you're looking for like a health stack, I mean, glutathione and NAD plus at, I mean, like 0.5 ml of each 3 times a week will be solid for like your liver health. And then if you're looking for something that's like straight up endurance and energy, then I would say Injectable SR 9009 and Injectable Cardarine is a pretty crazy fucking injection. You can do 0.5 ml of each pre-workout. There you go. Code Chase, 10% off. Go get it.
Yeah,
All
good.
right, what do we get? What do we got up next? There was definitely some questions in here for Kurt.
Yep. Here's one with Kurt's name on it and Chase's name. Can Kurt or Chase explain why the glucogen effects of retaglutide would not make glucagon effects of retaglutide would not make it more difficult to get a pump / stay filled out than Tirzepatide or semaglutide?
So the way I understand it is glucagon is going to liberate fat cells and your body is going to run on those as opposed to taking muscle glycogen and using that during your day so that you're sparing that, the muscle glycogen for your workout. And in my experience of using
The
Tirzepatide,
suppression of glucagon, right?
well, so so Retatrutide has a glucagon agonist in it. So that's going to
Gotcha.
yeah, so that's going to mimic what glucagon does. And yeah, so from that you get fat oxidation, and the fat oxidation is what your body's running on instead of, and I'm talking about like during the day. So it's like that way you're saving your muscle glycogen for your workouts. And I was saying, like, when I was on Tirzepatide, I definitely noticed that there was less muscle fullness while I was on that. And then, but this most recent cut that I've been doing, it's been really funny. Like, because the other thing that's crazy about what I've been doing is intermittent fasting. Like, I basically don't eat all day. And still, when I'm posting my pictures, people are like, how much growth hormone are you on? Like, how many carbs are you eating? Like, why do you look so full and round still? And it's just like, it's like, I'm still learning about it. It's kind of mind blowing to me how it's working out the way that it has. And I feel like, you know, I mean, I feel like I'm doing everything against the bodybuilding manual at this point. And so I'm still learning. I'm still kind of like playing around with things, but in my experience, that's what I've seen as far as like the difference between Retatrutide and Tirzepatide with regards to that. And like, if you're in my Discord and like see my log, where I most mornings I'll like post a picture. It's been really, really interesting to see like how full things are staying, even though I'm eating, you know, most of my food in the back half of the day. So it's very strange. Yeah.
So
Very strange deal.
does he not understand what glucagon is? Glucagon's the opposite of insulin. It's a stress hormone. It comes out of the pancreas alpha cells when it senses that blood sugar is low. So it releases fatty acids and gluconeogenesis. So in some respect, you're actually breaking down muscle to create glucose. So it's not necessarily an anabolic hormone. You don't necessarily want to run on glucagon.
Right.
That would be considered a stress response. So it's going to be totally different, right? I mean, it's the exact opposite of insulin. So it causes fat loss because of through suppression of insulin, although insulin doesn't cause fat storage per se, but it's kind of the opposite effect that you're getting.
But that's what's like really weird about it is not only does like Retatrutide have that, it's also making the insulin that you create way more effective. So it's like, it's weird that it's like hitting it from two sides and it doesn't like.
Well, it makes sense because it's coming from the alpha part, not the beta part of the pancreas.
Okay.
So they're totally different parts of the pancreas. So it's going to magnify, right? Because normally you're either beta or alpha is working, they're not going to work together. But that drug's allowing them both to function like simultaneously, especially if you inject insulin.
Yeah. Yeah, it's.
Although I don't know if I would inject insulin with that drug. I don't know if that's really a good idea.
I haven't tried it. Yeah. It's strange. Yeah. Like I keep trying to find like the easiest way to explain it to people, because it is weird that it's like, okay, it has it's the GLP-1 and the GIP in it is making your body more effective at releasing insulin and making your body more effective at using that insulin. But at the same time, it's also got this glucagon part to it, which is the opposite of insulin. And it's like, it's making everything, you know, go into the system, but it's more effective in that way. So yeah, it is kind of confusing how
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I recall correctly, doesn't glucagon, it makes your liver dump glycogen, right? Yeah, you completely dump glycogen.
It's trying to stop you from going to a coma.
Right. Yeah. And that's also how it works on burning liver fat. Is like it basically gets
It
all
brings
your
fatty
liver
acids
glycogen
up, too.
out. Yeah, gets all the liver glycogen out, and then your liver starts burning off its fat.
Yeah, but it's not like an anabolic response per se.
Right.
It's to prevent death.
Yeah.
I mean, could you muscle gear with it? Sure, because it's again, gear will probably override that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Josh-
that's what I've seen is the gear has definitely.
Gear overrides almost anything. So
Yeah.
Josh asked, he said, I just didn't understand how you don't go super flat from it. Glucagon also takes glycogen out of the muscle and the liver into the bloodstream.
no,
Not the muscle.
Glucagon can't take muscle. So
I don't think it empties muscle glycogen, right?
it can't. So that's a one-way reaction. So glycogen in muscle, the enzyme that allows it to come out is only present in the liver because the liver is what supplies blood sugar. Like when bodybuilders, when bodybuilders like post on Instagram, they wake up in the morning and I'm like flat as hell at 260. They're not flat as hell unless they exercise in the middle of the night because muscle glycogen can't come out without a muscle contraction. Liver glycogen comes out during the night too. So they're not flat as hell. There's no way you'd be flat. That's also like why for a bodybuilding show, if you carb load, like Saturday shows on a Saturday, you carb load on a Thursday, you pull the carbs back down on Friday. As long as they don't exercise on Friday, the glycogen stays. It can't come out.
Yeah, that's why we don't do workouts after we do the carb load before a show.
Yeah, because otherwise you've now flattened back out again.
Yeah, right. You flatten out.
That's why you see people do it wrong and carb load into a show, but that doesn't make a whole shitload of sense. The same way you'll store more glycogen with muscle contraction because it makes GLUT4 go to the cell surface and allow more glucose in. It's a one-way reaction. So you're going to get, it's not going to affect the muscle glycogen is what Chase is trying to get at. So it's affecting liver. It's affecting the liver and blood sugar.
Yeah. I mean, anecdotally, that's what I've seen. It's been like my muscles are staying full and I've been having great workouts. I haven't been using insulin. I haven't been using growth hormone. Yeah, it's been really interesting.
Yeah, it has been.
Yeah.
So growth hormone would be related too. So cortisol, glucagon, growth hormone are all stress responses to lack of food.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Versus insulin would be the opposite effect.
From what I understand, Retatrutide is not fully FDA approved, right? It's in the final
It's in the final. Yeah, it's in stage 3 trials.
Yeah.
Stage 3 trials. Okay.
It's. I mean, the side effect profiles is the exact same as the other two.
From what I've understood,
get
people
there.
say it's less. Like it's better tolerated than.
That's what I've seen. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, sometimes it takes time though, because the difference with the FDA approval now is they use an algorithm to test the side effects. They don't necessarily do. A lot of them don't use rats anymore. They're not testing on huge amounts of people like they used to. So they can speed up the process to get an FDA approval, but it doesn't always show what all the side effects are because the algorithm can't mimic everything that goes on in the body, right? If we knew every system in the human body and how it all worked, we'd be able to cure any disease. And that's why you see lots of FDA approved drugs currently that are safe and effective, but really in reality, they're not safe and effective because that algorithm didn't pick up cardiomyopathy or, all sorts of other silly stuff that occurs. Of course, I'm not talking about any specific drug, just general FDA approvals different.
Certain vaccines.
I didn't say that.
We won't say it. All right, what do we got next?
Let's see. We have Sebastian Toruno gets a lot of tension on his biceps when doing heavy trap shrugs. Is that normal? If not, how can I adjust my form to avoid it?
I mean, your arms are fully extended.
Use
So,
straps.
Get yourself some Versa grips.
yeah, you're probably just gripping too hard. I had I had an injury just 2 weeks ago, Colin.
Yep.
I pulled my bicep and my forearm really bad doing lat pull downs without Versa grips, so I probably should go back to using them. It's been painful. It still hurts.
Sucks.
I thought I'd tore something at first, but it was right in the front of my forearm, like right down through here. Yeah, it's still a little sore. All right, what do we got next? So use Versa grips. is the lesson there.
Get some Versa grips. Let's see. Got Death Rattle. Kurt, could you expand on why taking your bolus of GH at night before, or why you take your bolus of GH at night before bed?
I thought at first you were going to ask me to explain the death rattle. Jesus. So when you die,
We all get excited. Finally off this fucking rock.
we'll talk about something morbid. So there's a couple reasons.
Baby.
So one, let's say 90% of the effects that you get from GH are through IGF-1. We're not so concerned with the GH direct effects. There's a ceiling for that effect. It's like 1.7 units, give or take. I don't know if that's true in bodybuilders. We're not studied. We're talking more men than women because women's GH response is slightly different. So GH is pulsatile in nature, and you have several pulses every time you're not eating, right? When glucagon comes out, when cortisol is up, you have GH that comes out. But those pulses during the day are much smaller than the one at night. Your biggest pulse is like after you go to sleep. And your body reacts to that by also secreting a large insulin dump after that to kind of clear the excess blood sugar. So if you were to dose it, if you were to take, that's a large dose of GH and you were to just split it up during the day, one, it takes 4 hours to absorb. So now you're not even timing it for anything, because if you did it in the morning, it's not until lunchtime, it's not in your blood. And then if you did it post-workout, it's up till 4 hours later. So you're not actually hitting any sort of window. And you're going to be constantly, similar to the glucagon scenario, you're going to be constantly blocking the uptake of glucose, and you're going to be running on fatty acids. So bodybuilders eat chicken and rice. So then how are you utilizing that rice if you're constantly blocking the intake of, because it makes you insulin resistant. So you wouldn't want to do that unless you want to become diabetic. You're not going to get any more of a response by multi-dosing it. You want to take one big bolus at night. You get the slight GH effect, and you get a massive IGF effect, and you also don't get tired. And ask anyone on this panel that's done a big amount of GH, if you split it up, you're exhausted all day long.
Yeah.
It's just the way you should link the Serostim instructions up. Like if people would just follow the pharmaceutical instructions for these things, they spend billions of dollars researching this stuff. It specifically doesn't say no food. It says take at night. And that's for all of the uses of this stuff. It's not like bodybuilders have managed to outthink Merck, the German Merck, like on the efficiency of like how to use GH. Like you're not outsmarting these companies, because if there was a better way to use it, that's how they would use it. They don't care about multi-dosing. It's not like a convenience thing, because for diabetics, they have to use insulin all day long. It's just the better way to use it. It just doesn't make sense to multi-dose. So like multi.
The more I thought about it, Kurt, I've wondered, like, I noticed the guys that are splitting up doses, and in the off season, especially when they're in a caloric surplus and eat pounding a bunch of carbs, seem to be the dudes that ended up with insulin resistance.
Yeah. So if you, I mean, most people don't have access to people. Like when I discuss this with endocrinologists, they first are like, why would you split it up? And I'm like, bodybuilders do that. And they're like, why the hell would you do that? I mean, you want to become diabetic? Like it's just not like, it's to them, it's so obvious that you just don't do that. But yet to bodybuilders, it's like, oh no, you want to take 2 units throughout the day. You want GH to be pulsatile. You don't want it to be steady state. Otherwise it would be steady state. And hence why the long acting GH is not necessarily the right drug for bodybuilders, because you're not trying to create this like plateau of GH in your blood.
That sounds like you're trying to take the drug in a way that like mimics the way the body would actually use it.
That's out of
control. Why would you ever do that?
And the pituitary doesn't like shut down fully. Like steroid hormones will shut down the HPTA for months, if not years, depending on the amount and the type of drugs you use. The pituitary, if you shoot 18 units at night before bed, by 3 or 4 p.m. the next day, your pituitary is back secreting little boluses of GH. So you're not causing like massive depression. If you're constantly injecting it, the pituitary is never coming back online. We don't know the long-term effects of that. That's never been studied because we don't dose it like that medically. We dose it once. And I can speak, I'm sure Paul can speak to this, Chase can speak to this. I've tried every possible dosing of GH with pharmaceuticals, so I know it's legitimate. I've done labs on all of them. I've never seen any benefit to splitting it up. When I do anywhere from a half a bottle to a full bottle at night, I get the same fat loss effect. I get more muscle building effect. I feel better. I'm not tired. My blood sugar tends to be between 75 and 80 in the morning. It's, I don't know. When I was doing it before, I was exhausted. My hands were numb. I couldn't stay awake. And I wasn't necessarily getting leaner. And then it's super inconvenient. Like unless you're literally sitting around home all day, how are you pinning all day long?
Mhm.
No, doesn't make a lot of sense.
Mhm.
Yeah, I've for me just purely just the being exhausted. Like when I used to split it up, I was tired all fucking day long, falling asleep at my desk. Even now, man, like I went back up to over the last couple weeks. I went back up to running 18 units before bed. I've been sleeping like 9 hours.
Yeah, it's amazing.
I never sleep that much.
I don't piss anymore in the middle of the night from GH. Like I literally I'm out cold and I'll wake up till my alarm goes off.
All right, what do we got? We got a paid one here from Justin.
Yeah.
I think this one's going to be simple, quick. Go see your doctor answer.
Justin, I've been getting palpitations when going over 2 IU's growth hormones. Any tips? Taking once a day before bed, also on 500 test.
GH wouldn't cause palpitations.
No, I mean, are we sure that it's GH?
Yeah.
I don't, because I've seen all sorts of stuff mixed in there that's not GH. That would be my first thing. It could be somehow magnifying the test at the androgen receptor. It would be more of a testosterone thing than it would be a GH thing, especially, and 2 units. And we've said this, I think we've all said this a bunch of times. 2 units is not a man's dose for anything. It's like you want better fingernails, and it's going to take 2 years to get those fingernails. I would like anything less than 3 is pretty silly, even for a woman. I don't know. I don't think two most likely all you're doing is shutting your pituitary down, and you're probably getting a less amount of growth hormone than you're producing naturally, unless you're 50.
I usually start people off at 2 and then just taper them up over a couple weeks.
I'm
Just
saying,
so
but
they
no
can,
one's staying at 2. My wife is on 3 Serostim a day. She has no side effects.
While we're on the growth hormone topic, I kind of wanted to address this. It seems like the generic versus pharma argument has been hot again.
It's the fillers and the binders, and most likely bolaxone, which is a polymer that's added to the Chinese. So all the Chinese GHs made them like 1 of 3 factories. Most of it comes from one place. They add this polymer to it to prevent like it from caking and stuff and shipping, because it sits in a shipping container coming from China to the US for God knows how long. And it's not so much a temperature thing, it's just a moisture and stuff doesn't destroy it. But the rate limiting growth hormone is the absorption, right? The same as anything. Like that's why you want to inject it sub-Q, because there's better absorption with GH sub-Q than there is IM. There's anyone, again, you can ask anyone here if you don't believe me, anyone on this board that's done pharmaceutical growth versus generic growth, there is no comparison. I'm sorry to say it. If it's all you have available to you, then use generic stuff. But unfortunately, even the best generic stuff does not compare to the pharmaceutical stuff.
Yeah, I think
if it were so easy to make and so cheap, the pharmaceutical companies wouldn't be charging thousands and thousands of dollars to make this stuff. It's made an entirely different machinery. It's made an entirely different environment. It's not, right? I mean, Chase, you agree with that, right? I mean, when I've used some generics, I literally lose weight as soon as I start taking it, and my muscles get stringy and tight. Like you get the same side effects, but you don't get anything out of it.
I mean, the last time that I tested generics was earlier this year, and I went from 18 IUs of Serostim to 20 IUs of generics, and I literally lost 10 pounds in that week. And I was like, I do not feel like I'm on growth hormone anymore at that point. It was just like, that was it. So, and what's so strange about it though, is I still went and got blood work on it on 20 IUs of it. I still had, it was, I want to say I still had like it was in the 40s for growth hormone serum levels. Like I was still right. You still get everything except the progress, except the result. And that's what's so confusing about it for guys, is they're like, well, my blood work says it's good. The Janosik test says it's good. Like, I don't understand, but it just, you don't get the result. And that's all that there's to it.
If you look at the Janosik testing too, like if you look at Serostim test versus the Janosik, there still is a difference, right? The Serostim always tests at 100% pure. And it might be off by the milligrams, because the FDA has to allow for variance in milligrams, because you can't produce 100% accurate dose, right? And there's some lost in production. Steroids, the same way. You lose 15 to 20% in heat when you brew steroids. Like there's no 250 milligram test C is 250 milligrams on a test. it's probably 180, 190 because there's some lost in the process of manufacturing. Same with GH, there might be a milligram, like the Seristim tests out at like, if it's 6 milligrams, it'll test anywhere between like, 5 and 6, somewhere in there. But the purity is 100% and there's no dimmer. Dimmers in the sense of GH are basically broken protein strands. So that's not even GH at that point. That's some other molecule that's been altered by mistake because it wasn't made correctly. And right, the generics test somewhere between like 94, 98. You're still not 100%. Like 94, I would consider trash. I wouldn't inject anything that's 94% pure. It's unfortunately not the same. It's the absorption. It'd be the same. People are going to get mad at me. The same as injecting testosterone sub-Q with an insulin needle. It doesn't absorb correctly. You're not going to get the same response as if you put it in muscle. Same with GH injected intramuscular. You use 20% when you do IM GH injections versus sub-Q. They absorb at different rates. They absorb for different material, right? Depends on the structure of the chemical. So
yeah, I think the controversy this week. Well, I saw there was a podcast with what's his name, Michael Peckick from Janishik, and he was saying that when he tests generics, that they're all 98% pure and very low dimer. He said they're very comparable to the pharma, but so there's clearly something else going on. You mentioned, Kurt, something about you'd talk to a chemist and about how the Daltons affect the...
Yeah, so the weight's different. Basically, the weight of its
molecular weight
has the best weight. So that's probably a reason why it's the most efficient. I think genotropin or omnotropin was second. I have a list on you want me to send it? You could always put it up later of the Dalton weight when it's calculated. It's just the weight's different, and I think it's not the same. I hate to say it. And it's not to say there's anything wrong with generics if that's all you can get. I know that that's really almost people are going to be able to source, and that's probably almost people can be able to afford. But it's just not the same. You should not expect the same result from generic GH as you're going to get from a pharmaceutical GH, unfortunately.
I mean, it's like that's part of the reason why I do it at such a huge dose is because like that's where you're going to see the huge variance.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody that's like talking about it's the same, like they're taking doses of 4 and 6. Like you're not going to see shit with that anyway.
Yeah, how can
and Chase is like Chase is
that
like the best example of this stuff always because he's always right before science always stands up for it. So
it's just like also fuck, I just forgot what I was going to say.
Sorry, a little
That happens to the best of us.
Chase is the human lab rat, man. He goes out and does the experiment.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic anecdotal data too.
Well, I mean, yeah. Anyway, I mean, like that's why I do the big dose is because that's where you're going to see the clearest difference between the two. Yeah, I don't know.
We need to get Aaron on sometime.
Yeah,
that'd be awesome.
Middle of the night for him.
So we started. I'll tell people more once we get the trademark done. So I started my own medical journal with the doctor, and we're gonna focus on anabolics, and we're gonna study some of the stuff that's more on the fringe and publish that because we don't need approval. I don't need funding from a pharmaceutical company. I don't care if the FDA approves it. I don't care if the National Institute of Health is behind it. We're going to study all the things that you guys want to know. We can publish this stuff, and I'll get people to contribute. Like Chase, if he's running some of these compounds at bigger amounts, we can get his labs. We can actually look and see what is actually occurring here. Where
that's going to be really cool.
PubMed won't touch these things, and also we'll have it like. You're gonna have to pay to be a member of this medical journal, but you'll have access to all these things. Versus if you go on PubMed, unless you're a doctor, you have no access to. You can't look at EQ studies; they're all blocked.
That's a really great idea, Kurt.
Yeah.
That's an awesome thing for the community.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll get that should be done in the next week or so, at least the trademark and stuff. But we'll start. So the testosterone ester study will be in there. I'll put that one public too because I announced it. I don't know what the outcomes would be, and I was not against testosterone cypionate. I just don't think that they're the same.
I'm really curious to.
I just want to see what the difference is.
Yeah, me too. Yeah,
Is there a difference? Maybe wrong. Maybe there's no difference.
It sucks because I got a shitload of SIP in my cupboard.
I don't think there's anything wrong with it. So like I've been going back and forth between SIP and Enanthate to see if I can.
Yeah,
I did too. I just switched
You
it.
need me to take it off your hands.
There's a difference.
Yeah, my game plan is to switch to Enanthate and just see what. Like I said, I haven't used it in like 5 years because the last time I was using it, I was getting a bunch of pip from it, and I was like, well, I'll just use SIP instead, whatever. Yeah.
I'm telling you, in the old days, there was a question about SIP versus Enanthate anyway, so I guess we just kind of answered that. But Like back in like the early 2000s, I remember on the message boards, all the bros were like, "Don't use SIP, it sucks. Use Enanthate." I'm sure you remember that, Ryan. Yeah, that was like sort of the bro. All the bros are fascinated with Sustanon too. I don't know if that's the best choice either, but
yeah, and in all the scientific studies, they rarely use Cypionate. I think there's only one that I've seen where they compare it to nandrolone. We always use Enanthate because it's easier to produce. Like anyone who's brewed, Cypionate's really fragile. Like if it starts to smoke, it's junk. So it's just like, it's very tedious to make. And it's just, and again, because we don't know the pharmacokinetics of it, it's hard to study. With Enanthate, they know exactly how it works.
Yeah.
It's more, we just want to show the world what Cypionate's doing, since no one since 1952 bothered to even look at it, which I don't know why. It seems like a big hole in the market considering it's what's approved in the US.
The pentyl group in the ester seems to react differently than a straight chain.
Well, yeah, because you have that aromatic ring. So that's weight to it also.
Yeah.
So that's our thing. Same with MPP or Powerball.
Yeah.
There's oxygen in there that's bigger than the carbons. Like with this straight chain fatty acid, you can just count the carbons and guess the half-life.
Yeah.
You can't with that ring, right? And it's also not naturally occurring. So who's to say that we have the proper esterases to break that stuff down?
Yeah, that's exactly it. Yeah.
And it's on the problem is everyone makes it very emotional. Science is not emotional. We're just looking for numbers.
Yeah.
I don't care. I could very well be wrong. I try to stay not attached to this stuff.
You're gonna hurt some bros' feelings, man. It's very emotional, Kurt.
Yeah. I look at blood work from people on Cypionate all day. And one thing I notice is that it breaks down a lot faster than people think. Its half-life is actually very short.
Well, that could be like MPP. It doesn't mean the total. It's like MPP does this weird peak that's less than DECA, and it kind of flatlines and just kind of hangs out for actually the same duration as DECA. It's just at a level that's not anabolic. So you have to multi-dose it because it's on the stack. That's this first second compartment metabolism. It just can't stack. Like Enanthate each dose of Enanthate stacks on each other and builds a staircase up. Yeah. Where the weird aromatic ring doesn't do that.
Yeah. If you need data, Kurt, I'm sure I could put something out to my patients to see if they want to be a part of a study.
Yeah, you can contribute whatever you want. No, I need everybody's help.
We could just give you data from patients actually taking.
Yeah, but I'll give you credit if you want to write stuff or submit stuff.
Jason says the cyclic ester theory sounds like bullshit. The only thing that sounds like PP and SIP is less peak and crash. Oh man, there's always one. Someone who was at SM said that it's instead of a case study, it's a chase study.
I like that.
That's what I'm going to call it from now on.
Yeah.
All right, what do we got next for questions?
I have a lot of questions today.
Yeah, people are lined up. Maybe we should do this earlier on Sundays.
Maybe. Let's see. What's a good question? Jufro wants to know how tall Amy is.
I am 5'11".
And with the fro?
She wears high heels, and she's significantly taller than that.
I wear 5-inch stilettos. I'm not afraid.
So
barefoot, 5'11".
Lie about your height on Tinder at your own peril.
Yes, you will be found out.
Don't be short. Don't drive a Mini Cooper. That's the recommendation.
Mm-hmm.
Hey, I gotta say something. When I was natural, I drove a Mini Cooper.
See, when you were natural, you drove a Mini Cooper, and then your whole life changed for the better.
Back when you were
it was a John Cooper Works Mini Cooper S, but
was it
supercharged.
Inspired by the Italian Job? Did you buy it after you saw the Italian Job? You're like, I gotta get one of those.
I mean, I was too young when that came out.
Oh, okay.
I didn't have any money when I had that.
I didn't have any money either.
Once you hit 20,000 test, you don't drive a Mini Cooper.
That's right.
Yeah, that was.
Somebody's asking what size Amy's shoes are.
8.
That's a small foot for being that tall.
Yeah.
We talked about this.
I'm an overachiever.
My kids all got the giant feet like me. Jesus Christ, my daughter wears like 11 or 12 or something. She wears
tough to find shoes. Yeah, that's tough.
I'm up to 15 and a half, man. Growth hormone, put another half on it. People are like, is your feet that big from growth hormone? I'm like, no, I wore size 15 when I was in 8th grade. Extract from that what you will.
My feet grew like almost 2 sizes from GH over 15 months.
It was a Dave Palumbo. He's not that tall. I think he said he wears like a size 16, and he said his feet grew like 3 or 4 sizes, something like that.
Yeah.
Chase,
It's
your
just like
feet
a
grow?
freak show at that point.
Yeah.
Chase, your feet grow?
Clown shoes.
Yeah, I mean, I think they have a bit. Like, not really recently, but I mean, I've been at like a 12 for the last few years. But I mean, I feel like 6 years ago they were probably like 10 and a half.
Which is probably, for your height, 12 is pretty big.
Yeah, I mean,
I know it's probably completely stupid, but I swear the eggplant has grown too. I swear.
But does it grow more on generics or
that
Pharma.
has to do
Pharma,
more
definitely.
with that has more to do with not being fat.
this is I'll contribute to that study, Kurt.
Cool.
Because I'm not, like if it grows at all, we'll be able to tell. I'm telling you that right now. It's going to be a big difference.
But Josh says we need measurements for science. Unfortunately, I didn't document the before and after.
We're measuring microns.
Speak for yourself, Colin. All right, what do we got next? Got to get a good dick joke in on the podcast, right?
Okay. Let's see.
Make it a little inappropriate.
Zach Harding. He's got it's tight
Cool
last name, Zach.
dude.
It's tight last name. Zach Harding, best course of action to improve kidney health post-contest. I left a more specific question on your short asking for health questions. Can copy paste that in here. But what would be best course of action to improve or maintain kidney health post-contest?
Lower androgens. There's not a ton that you can really do to affect kidney health. I'm sorry. Astragalus is debatable, right?
Oh, okay. That's what
I don't know.
I mean, if you want to fix it the
debatable
fastest,
theory.
just drop everything. Yeah.
What
I do
about
see this post show? I don't know if you guys see this, but I see guys like where their bond and their creatinine will get high post show, and then it seems to level back out after like 30 or 45 days. I don't know if is that really the kidneys a problem, or is it just all the stress from contest prep?
Probably stress.
Yeah. Yeah, and then it throws off the EGFR. I don't know that you have damaged your kidneys at that point.
Doesn't Justin have a kidney product too?
Yeah. He has his.
There's nothing wrong with
renal
it. It's just
reset.
the data's debatable.
Inconclusive. Okay. There you go. It's maybe not the.
I've heard mixed things about Astragalus. I've heard some people say it's absolutely useless, and then other people saying the high dose of it seems to make a difference. I've seen studies that show that it works, but I don't know how much it works. But then, look at the
as long as it
Kidney
doesn't hurt, right?
You could say the National Kidney Foundation does not endorse use.
Yeah, they say don't take it. They say it actually causes kidney damage.
Well, that's a problem.
Yeah, I would just make sure you drink enough water and just go to TRT. It's too many steroids.
Okay. Maybe not the answer we want, but it's a good answer. All right. Let's see. So many GH questions today.
I wanted to ask this one real quick. This is a good one. Somebody wants to know where you learn about anabolics from a base level to professional level. I mean, that would be probably
if only there was like some kind of course out.
Like a course, an online course.
not just the course, but probably biochem. I mean, that be?
But we didn't discuss. Until I got 20 years into school.
Yeah.
I took 22 organic chemistry classes. I would start at the beginning and go up.
Yeah, I would think you would want a base understanding of organic chemistry. I've actually thought about going back and taking some organic. I took organic chem in college, but it's been 30 years. I thought about going back and doing some courses just to kind of get my head wrapped around.
Even the people that have masters in chemistry that I run into, generally the ones that move the rats for me. They don't you're not even allowed to do anything with a study.
Yeah.
It takes a long time before.
We
if
do
you
have
go to like professional level, I getting my PhD in it, so you would take a lot of schooling. Probably not worth the money.
Endocrinology. There's
we have a course though.
Yeah, we do have the e-course.
Just keep watching.
There is a link to it in the video description below. We have
Just watch all of our channels. It's good enough.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then go
we,
to
half a
we
million.
have 100. We have 100 modules in it now, and like
Yeah,
50
we
some
can
hours
add.
of content.
We should add more.
Yeah, we need to add some like basic biochem
Well, yeah, I
stuff.
was going to do one like to explain why each carbon does what it does, like why we change
Yeah,
things to
yeah.
like get different effects.
I've been slacking.
Amy, what does NTP stand for?
It stands for Nutritional Therapy Practitioner.
Okay.
Now we know. Amy can fix your poop.
Yeah. Also I was a guest on Ryan's podcast this week, Hormones for Me. We talked all about erectile dysfunction. So I can also fix your penis.
It was fantastic. It was great information.
Yeah,
we're doing female libido in a couple of weeks. I'm interested in that one too.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. A lot of much different. It's a little more complex and dynamic than men's sexual health.
Not in my experience.
No, women are easy.
You find the right one.
Yeah.
Matches your game plan. And
Yeah. It goes in the square hole. It's easy.
I don't know how women walk around with those things.
Oh man. There's a paid question here. Got paid £5.
It's funny that I was going to get to these questions, but hey, if you want to pay, you get to the top of the line.
Mhm.
Champion, what is the best cocktail in parentheses primo/GH ? To hold post-contest look and stay lean year round?
I do it on just tests and GH. Again, I think if you use good GH does more than most steroids do.
Back to the good GH and your diet.
Yeah. I mean, cardio, diet. Yeah.
Yeah, cardio and diet are probably the two biggest things you can do to hold condition. You're not going to have that super hard dry look, but I feel, you saw me at the Olympia, Kurt. I've been slacking, man, and I've stayed pretty lean.
I mean, I was just on test and GH when you saw me at the Olympia.
Yeah.
I don't hold a lot of fluid.
Sorry. Having a sneezing fit here. Sorry. All right, what do we got next? We'll get maybe like 2 more in. I got to wrap up. I've got a consult call. I thought I was going to watch football, but I don't think that's happening today.
Let's see. That's probably a good question. Campophobic. Can GH help reduce loose skin after significant weight loss?
Yeah, big amount can. Paul had that guy.
Yeah.
18 units of Therastim for how long was that? 12 weeks?
Yeah, something like that. He snapped back pretty good.
Yeah. No.
Now there is a certain, Amy can talk about it, but there's sometimes like when the skin's just blown out, it's blown out. I had that issue.
Yeah, I would say it can help, and also giving it time. I think that's the bigger thing with weight loss, especially. People think that skin is going to come back really quickly, and it doesn't. It takes a long time for your body to kind of remodel to its new size. So we make patients wait. Like if you have had massive weight loss, we make you wait at least a year to kind of be at a stable weight and just to see how much contraction you're ever going to get. Adding in something like GH, having a really healthy diet, like all those things are going to help improve that skin quality. But once you've reached that point where it's just that skin is so stretched, it's not coming back. Like it's not going to come back. Doesn't mean you shouldn't still be healthy, but it's not magic. The skin's just not going to magically go away. I wish it would.
I think there was one here I wanted to touch on real quick. A guy said he wanted that Dorian Yates hard, dense look. This is the thing I think a lot of people don't understand is that bodybuilders don't look like that year round. They just put
up a picture of Dorian in the off season.
Yeah, and you got to get a little big and fluffy to sometimes to put on. I'm not saying get fat, but like a lot of times it's just water that these guys were holding. But yeah, this was Dorian in the off season. That is not hard and grainy.
Wow. Yeah.
Most guys probably don't have enough mass to look hard and grainy, even if they get lean, right? You need a lot of times it's not getting leaner, it's getting bigger and then getting leaner.
Yeah, and I think, like one thing we do have at our advantage now that they didn't have back then, there was no AIs. Those guys weren't running AIs in the off season. It wasn't until the 2000s, but yeah, he would get pretty fluffy in the off season.
Was that Testeca and sausages?
Yeah. I heard him, like, he would tell people that he was perfect on his diet, but I heard him talking on a podcast recently how he loved breakfast sausages. Yeah, so that was his thing that he would eat in the off season.
They do have some pretty banging sausages in the UK. They're full English. Like that's no joke.
I think he said breakfast. Yeah, he liked English breakfast sausages. So
Oh my
he said
God.
he wouldn't eat like cake or sweets or stuff, but he loved breakfast sausages. I'd say it worked out for him.
Yeah.
Whatever he was doing.
Yeah.
All right, let's get one more in. Pick a good one.
Sure. I like this one here. We got a young man, Jackson Easton. Would you recommend a 21-year-old bodybuilder in college on a budget to run generic GH or don't bother? He's running 5 IUs at the moment. What do you think?
Unless you're gonna go the Olympia, why waste your time?
Buy more tests. You're 21.
Yeah, you produce
Yeah, I'd
plenty
say
of
you're
GH.
young enough. I would just use more tests. Yeah.
Can you say it a certain way for me, Chase?
yeah. Test.
Use more tests.
Use more tests.
You heard the man.
Test.
The voice of God.
Oh God!
Use more
Before we
tests.
go, I love, like, anytime any of us say anything contradictory, people love reaching out to me and they're like, "Paul, Chase said all you need is tests. You don't need anything else this week." Like,
Like
what do you think
tattling.
about that?
I love it when they try to like
Yeah.
put us against each other.
Yeah.
It's
As
like,
though y'all aren't talking.
What do you think about that? And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't hear Chase's.
it's like you guys DM
I
us.
guess,
We
but-
share all those.
I got to share this one. Here's another great one. This is Dorian in the off season. This is look how swollen his head is.
It's great.
That is what the off season looks like. In case anybody wants to think about holding the contest, look you around.
It's awesome.
That is what it look when your neck and your head all become one. Off season bodybuilding can get ugly. You don't have to get that ugly now, but
Yeah, but if you want to look like Dorian, you probably do.
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, listen, it's probably
Yeah, if you want to be fucking huge.
even there. Its body fat was probably 10%. It's just so much water.
Well, this is it. Yeah. A lot of people don't realize how much water and just luck is sitting there. That's not actual straight up fat.
Yeah,
you know?
unfortunately, most people don't have the genetics to be as big as Dorian either. So it doesn't matter what they do; they ain't gonna look like Dorian Yates. Otherwise, there'd be guys at every gym that look like Dorian Yates. I've yet to see a single one.
Well, that and they're just not going to take the time, to get that kind of growth. They're not going to be on for 10 years, to even do that. Like that, I don't know. I get guys sending me messages like talking about how they want to be whatever size, and I'm like, it just takes time. Like, just keep going, find something else to make the days go by faster, and put that in the background, and just train, eat, do your job, and in 5 years, next thing you know, you'll be, what I like. The only reason that I'm 240 lean is because I've been on gear for 15 years straight. Like, that's probably the biggest thing about it.
Yeah, you've been
just
relentless,
constantly
consistent
and
you know,
eating,
with your
and
training
training.
and your eating.
I mean,
too.
there's all that too, but yeah, I mean,
but yeah,
the big thing is
definitely don't discount
it just takes time.
the drugs either. I suppose.
Yeah.
Time is the big thing, and
A lot of
consistency.
time.
I sent Kurt a picture the other day, and this is when because back in the day in the bodybuilding magazines, all you ever saw were the pictures of the bodybuilders in contest shape. And I met Lee Priest at a bodybuilding show when I was like 29, or no, I'm sorry, like in 1999. And I was like, and he was fat as fuck. I was like, oh my God, that's Lee Priest. Let me see if I can find that picture real quick. I don't know. It's deep here in my.
I can send it back to you if you want. I got it.
It's all right. But anyway, it's I'll post it up on Instagram at some point. I think it's actually in my Instagram profile. But yeah, that's when I was like, my eyes were open. I'm like, all right, these guys don't look like. Here it is. These guys don't look.
That's why I say,
this.
like, you guys, like, people watching, like, if you haven't been to an expo, like, come to the Arnold, go to the Olympia, meet these people in person and see, number one, how short they are. Number two, just how freaking big and wide and a lot of them not super lean. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, and a lot of them, you know, in their off season, like see what they look like in real life versus on Instagram with the angles and the lighting. You know, it's to see them in person, you get a good idea of like if this is what you want to be, this is the reality of what real life looks like on a day-to-day basis. You know, in the real world, as opposed to just seeing them on stage or on their Instagram. So
look how red he is. Wonder what his blood pressure was.
Definitely good blood pressure.
He's more red than me. Mine was from the tanning bed. Somebody said, "Oh, holy moly, Paul with hair. That ain't right." I did have hair, folks. I did have hair.
He looks like he looks like he's at like Comic-Con or something.
Yeah, he looks like he looks like he works for like Blizzard Entertainment.
Right, yeah, exactly. With that
like,
shirt. Yeah.
That shirt. Like,
I remember meeting him, and he was
Blizzard,
he was sitting there at the Twin Lab booth eating a thing of Kentucky Fried Chicken.
That's all he ever talks about. Yeah. I
What
knew
he
you were
was
going to
eating.
say that. It's hilarious.
Yeah, he had like a bucket of Kentucky Fried Chicken, and he was just hammering away at the Kentucky Fried Chicken. That was back in the days when they used the real trans fats to fry the shit with. He's still alive somehow.
I mean, he does so much damn cardio. Like every day,
Yeah.
he does, and he like goes hard at it. It's crazy. When I can't remember what that app was called, where all the guys, all the Evan Centopani had. It was called Circles. It was Evan Centopani Circles is what it was called, and a bunch of pros were on it, and it was like Lee was one of the guys on it, and he would always be just like doing like over an hour, sometimes 2 hours of cardio a day, and he's retired, like just because he knows he still like he binges, you know, so he's like he has a crazy like schedule with his training and his cardio and stuff. Like he's always doing cardio.
I need
It's
to
crazy.
get on a Lee Priest cardio plan.
Yeah, it's scary because he talks about it on there too. It doesn't exist anymore, but he would talk about how he would be going to McDonald's and KFC and like just eating a bunch of chocolate. Like he had a serious he's got a serious food addiction sort of thing going on, and he tries to counterbalance it with cardio.
I have not done a lick of cardio since my show. I said I'm going to be good this year.
Oh man, since the Olympia, I've been so lazy. I don't think I've gotten over like 5,000 steps. Most of them are like 3,000 steps. I haven't done shit.
Oh yeah, 5,000 steps is a good day for me.
Yeah, I did. I think I did that yesterday. I was like, holy shit, how did that happen? I've been so lazy. A lot of downtime right now. It feels great.
All right, folks, I think that's all we got for you today. We appreciate each and every one of you. Go watch some football. Go be bros. Thank you for your support.